Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the Clover Garden School Board of Directors meeting for August 9th, 2022 to order at 6:35 p.m. Ms. Verakin, role and mission.
Role of the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda for this evening? Are there any questions, changes, additions? I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Mr. Huffines, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? July 22, 2022 minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any corrections? Do I have a motion to approve July 2022 minutes? Ms. Merle, second. Ms. Russell, all in favor? Thank you. Ms. Verakin, do we have any stakeholders this evening?
Ma'am.
Thank you. Moves us on to finances, the July 2022 budget. I understand Ms. Simmons couldn't be here tonight. Is there any comments or information she sent to you, Ms. Verakin? Okay. Ms. Lane, have you had a chance to review?
Yes.
Are there any questions or issues at this time?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the July 2022 budget? Ms. Lang, second. Ms. Foster, all in favor? Thank you. Academics, principals report.
So principal report will be a little bit different. Just this meeting because of time, we go out a lot of your agenda, so we're excited about that. So I just want to go over a couple things. Want to make sure that you guys are getting my weekly Sunday message. Okay, we have gone through some changes. There's been some technology stuff where we start school before everybody else does. So some of the programming like Power School and the Swift K-12 program that we use for math emailing, all of those things do updates and things over the summertime and we're already done. So there have been a little bit of some glitches there. We're working that out to make sure everybody is getting these. But if you do not, please just email me or shoot me a text, just let me know. There have been, so this comes out every Sunday. And don't let Brandy know I'm pretty big in color, okay? Because I'm on the Christian down here, so she can be attention. But these are our floor camps. So that's what we use when we send it out. So when you get my Sunday messages on Sunday, I use Floor because I'm able to put in pictures and make it a little bit more interactive, and put videos in there. And I know that was one of your I guess one of your thoughts from last year, getting us feedback on principal report. She wanted it to be a little bit more interactive, kind of let you kind of know what's going on and see the kids. I know that's what you guys want to see the most. That's what I enjoy seeing is their accomplishment. So please make sure you're getting these. It just depends. I've had 4 so far, but these things are chock full of information. So you don't have to wait once a month to get information from me. So just make sure you take a look at those on Sundays. I know it takes 2 seconds. But once you get in there, you can kind of peruse through. Like our first one was a little thicker because we're trying to get everybody prepared and get them in the building. But there's something that we're doing every Sunday is a feedback form. That was one of the suggestions from our families. We've got questions, we need answers to certain things. And so now there is a Google document that compiles all of this. Every Sunday I check it. So, that is one thing that it has been, and I put the answers to those questions in our Sunday message. So it kind of invites you to read it if you submitted a question for sure. Okay. So those are going to be in there every Sunday. That's going to be some repetitive stuff that you're going to see. Also going to put like important information that's going on in the school. And I appreciate all of your feedback at the last board meeting. Since that board meeting, I've tried to communicate additionally, additional information and trying to clear up some any types of confusion or I can't answer all the questions, but I can do the best I can. So we try to be a little more thorough with what we put in this program. And then every Sunday there will be an expansion update. So shout out to Mr. Huffines. Thank you. He emailed me and shoots me messages every weekend so that you guys are in the loop and our families are in the loop. of the development that's taking place over at the expansion. So those are some things that you're going to see every Sunday. And so we may tweak our principal report that we have before we, I don't want to do competitive information for you. And so I will work with Ms. Spencer and Mr. Feldman on that. So again, other things that are in here, shouting out new hires, new staff members, any type of activities that are going on in and around the school. So there's like traffic concerns. We're getting a whole lot better with traffic, but you know, that's always a concern the person of the school with getting these kids in and out of here and our families in and out of here safely, and keeping them off the road. So the lunch menus, those are some other things that are in these. And then my favorite part that we've started doing this year, between this message and our Facebook page, I mean, you can be all in the know if you want to be, okay? So it's out there, so it's just our family's responsibility to go check it, okay? So I'm trying to get the emails cleaned up a little bit so there's no issues with people getting the email, but Ms. Thompson has done a great job of also putting it on the website. So there's another backup just in case. So as soon as I send them, she puts them in there. So like I said, definitely kind of check those out. I'll just handle anything else I kind of put in here. Like I said, staffing updates, changes, things that are going on within our department. Those kind of things come out every Sunday. Other things, just kind of talk about whatever my principal's report today, and Ms. Jackson was on the additional document today. I'm just kind of sharing. So other things that are usually in the principal report that I just kind of want to keep you in the loop on. One of those has to do with our enrollment. So Ms. Nina has been at it nonstop. And so she has a certain ADM she has to hit this year. And so she has done a great job of doing that. We are really working on attendance. Okay, that's a big one. Our families have done a great job of really understanding the importance of our first 20 days. I'm waiting on some feedback from the open house to kind of get some thoughts back from our families on how they thought that went. I did get a couple of positive comments in person that day, which is really nice. But I really want to look at that and kind of dissect that a little bit and you know moving forward. But our families have done a really good job understanding the first day of school, how important that was, especially with our funding and then these first 20 days. So that's going to be something we're going to continue to push in attendance every second, every minute in this building counts. And so trying to make our families understand that and you know be conscientious of that and make sure their kids are here every day. So we currently have 523 kids still on the waiting list. So, and we have pulled in a ton of kids. We have really moved and we are bursting at the seams. Okay, we have maxed out our building. So it really gives me excitement for next year. I know I don't want to steal Mr. Thunder later, but there was an article published that came from Alamance News, and it was some of my quotes were in there, and I'm like, hold on, you didn't call me that. But Miss Reagan was all in there. So some people are reading messages, so that's a good thing, right? But one of the quotes they did use that I was very proud of is, you know, we do have families that have other children that are on our waiting list, and I cannot get them in. You know, there's just no more space in this classroom. So very excited just moving down the road what possibilities will happen with these kids. They're on this waiting list. You know, we could almost fill another entire school, you know, with our waiting list numbers. So excited, kids want to be here, families want to be a part of our school. So very, very excited about that. Other things just in Nina's world, our kids that are dual enrolled, they have Alamance Community College courses. Those are getting ready to start up next week. And then we have some online courses starting up next week. So everybody's in full swing. Ready or not, we're here. So some other quick things that I did just want to share with you too. I promise, I hope that I don't have to talk about it every meeting, but COVID is still here. It is still around, unfortunately. So that has really hit our school. You know, a little bit harder coming back into school this school year. And so we've got our health and wellness committee. They're getting ready to meet. So I hope that I'll be able to kind of share some additional thoughts. And if you guys have some feedback you would like for me to share with our health and wellness committee going into this year, please let me know. But we're going to be meeting with them very soon because our policy right now has to do with CDC's guidance. There are no requirements anymore, but there are recommendations. And so those are what we're still using for our quarantine numbers. So it's 5 and 5. So if the kids are positive, or if there's a household positive, kids are quarantined for 5 days if they're not vaccinated. And then they can come back to school for the next 5 days, so they do have to wear masks. The alternative to that is if they are unvaccinated, they can do the isolation at home for those 10 days, but that's a long time. So we're trying to keep them in the building. So definitely going to revisit and look at our protocols. There's been some news that there may be some more lesson some lesson restrictions from the CDC. So we're always keeping an eye on that. But that is kind of our current policy. Our vaccinated kids, like I said, it's a little bit different for them too, but it's pretty hard the past couple of weeks coming back into school. So we will be meeting with the health and wellness. Again, if anyone wants to sit in on those meetings, please feel free to let me know. Ms. Foster, I've still got you unofficially signed up on there in this June. So if anybody else wants to join us, I would be happy to welcome you. Just to kind of give you some numbers with COVID and things like that, what we're looking at here. So this week, we've had a spike, especially with our older children, so middle school and high school kids this week. So looking at kind of percentages, and we have not, we have decided not to do metrics right now. Health and wellness may change that, but it really got better for the end of the school year. So we're hoping that this is just that curve, and we can go to the peak, and everybody's coming back together, and we're all fair terms. And then hopefully it'll go back down again like it has shown us in the past. So I will put this document in your folder. It's just a graph. It goes from last September to now, and you can kind of see the peak coming back up again. But we do, like I said, we've got about 6% right now that are positive cases in our high school. So, right now staffing, we're spread pretty thin. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're spread pretty tight. And we do have so we're doing the best we can. Everybody's jumping in and doing what needs to be done. So hopefully we'll kind of get over the curve and move forward. So one day I'm not gonna have to talk about that. So we'll put that to the side. But I will put that document in your folder so you can review it. Other things, just kind of keep you in the loop. I know I've been kind of introducing people through my Sunday message, the new faces, some moves and changes within our building, because of personnel and staffing and things like that. Our biggest concern right now, truthfully, is teacher vacancies. That is the teaching vacancies. That's the biggest in our neighborhood, and any educator that I sit in on calls with, they're all in the same boat. But we are working very diligently to fill our open spots. And they're coming. It's just, we are very, we don't just want to put somebody in there to put somebody in there. We want our kids to have the best. So we are working very hard on that. Other people that are new, to just kind of shout out these folks who have had no time to settle in, hit the ground running, is our social worker. So Ms. Batts is our social worker. She has, I'll just kind of read a little bio to you. She's been a social worker for 8 years. She's been in school social work for 6 years. She went to UNCG. She graduated from Barton College. And she is from Wilson, North Carolina. And she has 2 little boys and a little girl. And then her fun fact is she's also a freight dispatcher and a licensed mail technician. So we have not given Ms. Batts much time to settle in. She has hit the ground running and been in with us already on some pretty significant things and offering support to our kids. So we are very lucky to have her, and she is here 5 days a week. So pretty excited about her. She did want me to share with you what she's been doing. She's been targeting emotional, physical, and physiological behavior in order to help kids succeed. She's had one-on-one sessions with students in order to build their social and emotional skills in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And she is utilizing leadership, advocacy, and collaboration in order to make sure she is healing and strengthening every student to eliminate the barriers to learning. So she has been a huge part of some of our kids getting back into the school system and transitioning. So, and last but not least, just another update. Our band department did have camp over the summertime. Our band numbers are small. I'm just being honest with you. They're small, but they are. Lloyd is trying to reboot that and trying to get more participation. So I'm not 100% sure at this current moment if we're going to have a competition season. I don't know if she's going to have enough numbers, but she's trying the best that she can. So there will be opportunities for our kids to perform. We just don't know if it'll be a competition season this year. And then athletics, they hit the ground running. Literally today, they have utilized every space in the building. I believe it was too humid to go outside. So we were doing wall sits out here. We were jumping on the wall out here. We were kicking the ball back and forth out here. They've been real creative with one of you. So they all took turns. But athletics is off to a great start. I will drop this in your folder too. These are important dates. So just kind of put them on your calendar, things that are happening and going on. They're getting started. We're using a new program this year called Dragonfly. Just earlier this week, Mr. Feldman, Ms. Spencer and I went through and all the schedules are loaded in there. So, we're going through and all right, you're gonna take this game, I'm gonna take this game. So anytime you guys want to come and support athletics, there's a whole schedule on there, and it's super easy to use, to find out with our study schedule. So those are important dates there, and they are also pushing, you'll see some children in the car line here soon, trying to get you in the morning, for donations and things, but they are gonna have a color run. That's coming up very soon. I believe it's in the of September. So they are pushing that. Cross country is, and that's gonna be on campus. So very excited about that opportunity. And they have been working very hard to fundraise, and bring in additional funds and things like that this year. So it's the so it's very exciting. Any questions?
2 questions from me. Did you say what our number was? I know you said wait list, but what's our ADM?
686.
Okay, and then is there a plan to bring back the student and staff monthly? Staff of the month?
Yes.
Okay,
So I will try to teach you this young lady. I'm not going to spot and point to her, and she's just doing none. So business has done a great job so far, and Mr. Feldman as well. The defensive specialty is in like initiative and bringing our staff up, staff around. She was passing out Swedish fish the other day. Just telling you a good job. I'm very impressed. She got a cool belt. Women's clothing in our pockets. Understand it, walking and keys and phones. So she is on it. In regards to those kind of things. So today, right before our meeting, I checked, which is where I look for our student chocolate stuff. And I put a little incentive out there. I had 0 responses before the meeting. Now I've got over 10. Okay, a little incentive to wear jeans goes a long way. So, so these people are motivated. Okay, I'm britches. But anyway,
boy, don't take much.
so anyway, yes, ma'am. That was one of my favorite parts. Now that we can have visitors back in the building and things like that, absolutely shouting out individuals.
Good. Glad that's coming back.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Okay.
Like, okay.
Yes. Sorry, I had to get my glasses on.
You're fine.
What's that?
Okay, so each of you have, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm sorry, there are no faces here. I'm Ms. Reagan. I am part of several committees, as well as the high school science teacher for kindergarten. My specialty is Kansas, for sure, but I also serve on other committees and teams as well. And tonight, our main goal is to introduce the school improvement plan to you guys and kind of give you a breakdown of our plan. In your packet, you have a copy of the presentation that I'm going to go through, and it's very short. You also have a copy starting on page, I believe, 5. You have a copy of our actual school improvement plan that is in the Star system that is monitored by the state. That is a living, breathing document that we update monthly. And this goes into a lot more detail for the action items that we are going to do this school year and things that certain committees and certain people have goals and responsibilities for. But just to kind of give you a rundown of our school improvement plan and our team does consist of 4 main roles. The leader, which is myself. You have the reporter, which is Ms. Garrison, and then you have the timekeeper and the participant. We've actually haven't had, well, we've only had 1 meeting this school year, so we have to assign the timekeeper and the participant for our team. which is also an OD for the K student elementary representative. We have Ms. Kennedy as well, myself and Ms. Pearson, and then administration. So y'all seen this diagram before. I really enjoy it. I like it. We use this a lot in just kind of trying to organize what our plans mean and how to break it down for our staff and all stakeholders. So with Clover Garden, everything stems from the mission, the vision, and the belief statement. Then we have our school improvement plan right after that. That is there to help guide those mission, vision, and the belief. So when we made the school improvement plan last year, that was what drove the goals as well as all of the actions and the indicators that we set to improve the school. The goals in the city, you have the C department, NTSS, the AIG, which we talked about at the last school board, our board meeting. All of those stem into the school improvement plan. Then the school improvement plan is broken down into 3 main dimensions, where then you get 8 indicators and then all the action items that help build and talk to that. So again, always keeping these 3 things in our minds, no matter what we're working on to help drive what we're doing. So we have 3 goals with our school improvement plan. The first goal is to build competent learners. Clover Garden will increase proficiency in all students in the category of English language arts in grades 3 through 8 by 2%. So that is the goal for this school year, is to bring up our DLX scores on our EOG. Goal number 2 is in order to produce successful citizens at Clover Garden. Over the 22-23 school year, 100% of teachers will participate in social and emotional professional development in order to provide SEL instruction to students. And goal number 3, in order to help teachers improve their practice, develop strong reflective habits, and meet the needs of all students by June 23, 100% of teachers will submit lesson plans and canvas with common expectations. And these are things that we've actually started implementing in January this past year, so that we can kind of get feedback from our staff and help narrow down and work out some of the things with them. So this one is a breakdown of all of the roles and responsibilities for our stakeholders, as well as what each indicator entails and who's responsible for helping monitor and report on that. Our staff was given all of these as well at the beginning of the school year, and kind of, I'll show you in a couple of slides, just to show them, what does that look like for teachers? You've heard me say that before. These plans are all great, and sometimes they can get really lengthy. What does that mean for a regular classroom teacher? What do they need to do on a daily basis in order to be able to be successful with their plan? And I'll break down what these are as well. So in the first dimension, it's all about instructional excellence and alignment. And we selected 4 indicators in this category for our school. So the first indicator was that we have high expectations for all of our staff and students across the board. So for that, teachers employ effective classroom management. They reinforce class rules and procedures. Mr. Cheek also spearheaded an academic honesty and integrity policy and statement that we've introduced K through 12, and it's posted in every classroom in the building, so that we can always reference our academic and integrity for our students. The next one was curriculum and instruction alignment. We have lots of professional development, and you'll see in a couple of slides, scheduled for this school year for our teachers, as well as staff development days on our half days, where we're able to meet and cross the line our curriculum with each other and try to help. Just yesterday, the middle school and high school grade level met, and part of our professional development plan that's personal for us is that we meet with at least one other teacher in a different discipline and find something common to teach. So it's like, for example, I know in chemistry, I have a section where we talk about the art and the colors. So Ms. McCollister, who's our arts teacher, she and I are going to come together and find out what we can do together, so that we can cross the line that. So that's supported for the school improvement as well as professional development plans. Student support services also align with this goal and dimension. So we have already fully implemented our tiered instructional system within TSS. So that's good. And then we have our student support services. And dimension B is our leadership dimension, and we selected 3 indicators from this one. We want to have a strategic planning, mission and vision. So we have already collectively came up with a school improvement team, and we do meet monthly, every month, we use leadership as one of those as well, where we do look at and plan and collect data for all of our indicators. The next one is our strategic planning and the consistency of our leadership team, that we consist of professional staff meeting with one another, and like I said, at least twice a month. And then monitoring the instruction in the school where our principals are making those observations in our classrooms and observing our teachers, as well as some of the school improvement team members pushing into the classrooms to offer support for our staff. And that's a big one for all. And then the last one is our professionalism. And for that is the quality of our professional development. Our assistant principals have worked really hard over the summer to select professional development for our staff members that we are going to be completing each quarter. I'll talk a little bit about that last time with the AIG plan. For our staff, what does it look like on a daily basis? So they're going to continue with the FPL in K-5 for the Lions class, where they're conducting opening and closing circles as an example. And 6 through 12, having a wall of the classroom, meeting and greeting your students in the hallway, which we see evidence of every day, and monitoring them. Continuing with our MTSS monitoring and reporting, our monthly assessment data on students, so making sure in our grade level meetings, we are looking at student data and talking about those students, and then attending our professional development, and then not only attending it, but implementing that into the class. And that's where those submission of the lesson plans this is very similar to the AIG one. Each month, just what does it look like for our school improvement team? Are we monitoring? Are we updating action items? Are we reflecting on the things that we talked about throughout the month? And how are we supporting the plan and stuff? For our school calendar, we do have already scheduled half staff development days. So the school improvement team have designated some of those days for differentiating planning and learning about small groups, which is our first professional development class that all teachers are taking place in. And I'll show you that in the class as well. The vertical alignment planning is where the science and the math teachers all of them meet together, K-5 or K-12, and they're able to talk. So your high schoolers, teachers are talking to your middle school, you're talking to your elementary students, good collaboration for cross alignment and continuing education. And then professional development, how we're implementing that this year, our teachers are logging into their Rapid Identity account, and we've already got started on that. We're using the NESID system, which is from the state, and they offer free professional development for our teachers that are licensed. And like I said, the assistant principals got together this summer and they were able to select several courses for our teachers to implement and help guide not only the school improvement plan, but also the AIG plan, MTSS, everything all built in together. So this is what it looks like for the staff. They go under their My Courses or their professional development, and Mr. Feldman went in and recommended all of those trainings for them. So they're very easily accessible. And they're kids, which they're used to. So the first quarter of the school year, our teachers are taking a professional development class on differentiation in the classroom. So that also stems with our AIG plan and collaborates with that. So that now part of the lesson plan expectation is to show the differentiation between all spectrums of children in their classroom. So that's one of those common expectations, is showing how they're differentiating for all students. The second one is also one that collaborates with the AIG plan, which is the universal design for learning and how everyone learns in the classroom. It's not just one path, it's multiple paths. So that's going to be quarter 2. Quarter 3 is creating a connected culture through student engagement and empowerment. And this one is helping with also student, the SEL, social and emotional learning as well. And in quarter four, they can choose which one best fits the need for their personal classroom for the year. And that is through blended learning, which is a hot topic all across education. Supporting with essential questions and RBT, data literacy, how to diagnose, or not diagnose, but analyze your data that you get from your students and how to implement that in your classroom as well. Technology and also assessment for 21st century classrooms. We also meet monthly, and these are our monthly meetings. We have school improvement the first week of each month. Our grade level team meets the second week, and then leadership, and then our staff meetings where we all come together and kind of share and collaborate. Any questions?
One, I know we need teachers. Are any of our long-term subs participating or helping the teachers in this? Or
Well-
with the data collection or going to any of the, you know, the half-day courses and development? Are they doing that?
Yeah, so expectations, well, yes, we
Okay.
know that the long-term subs.
I-
So long-term.
I
but
agree 100%, but if they're here.
They are, so they,
Okay.
the long-term subs, they can say how to do it.
Right.
So yeah, but our half days haven't started yet, but absolutely.
Okay.
And with our long-term subs right now too, they are getting support from administration and again from the co-teacher, the teacher of the other course, because, you know, they're trying to help
Right.
teach as much as they can with two classrooms, but yes, ma'am, that will be it.
Okay.
And we have, because like I said, the music system where you saw all 40 classes, one for each quarter, is only for licensed teacher. And we do
Yeah.
have some that aren't like our long-term stuff.
Mhm.
And we have supplemental courses for that through Canvas. And that is what we are implementing for teachers that aren't able to access it. So this summer, I just pulled a bunch of resources to build a course for those employees.
Under your dimension A, B, and C, where does that 4-digit number represent?
Oh, just the indicator, are you talking about the letters and the three numbers?
No, at the end of the, like, you got 5135, or at least on my copy. I was just curious what those represent.
I'm sorry.
These
Oh,
numbers
the
right here.
5135, yeah, the N in the parentheses.
I think it goes along with the standard in the star, like where to go to find that one for the InStar system. So we log all of this, and that's where you get this big, long document here. The back page, that's from the InStar. So it looks, the formatting looks a little bit different, but that's how you can locate those.
Okay, so that's just a reference
Yes,
then.
sir.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Is the majority of the data you use coming out of Canvas, or are we
And what, like data for,
any type of data we're tracking in regards to how a student's doing, not comparing, but tracking to how we're increasing grades and
So
seeing,
that's, a lot of that teacher preference. We do have, and that differentiated between K-5, middle and K-5. For middle and high school, I would say yes, especially classroom data and assessments that they use, but we also have the North Carolina check-ins that will be starting up in September. We also have the EOGs and goal summaries sheets that we get from Robin, from testing, so that the teachers can kind of look at the class as a whole as to which standards that they struggled with, in the previous year. But as far as like the regular classroom, I would say it's just from their assessments that they give and whether that's on paper or in Canvas. For middle and high have to go through Canvas. And then they can resource out that data however they see fit for them, but that teachers have autonomy in that. And they can decide how they want to track their students, but they do have to track them,
okay,
and show that data and the monitoring, progress monitoring of their students. They also use iReady. That is a real big one, especially in the K-5 world. And they use that to track the growth of their students. There's another one. What is it? In class, that's what it is. I knew there was another one. In class is another one, but that's K2.
K3.
K3, okay, K3 for in class. And that's only ELA.
Okay. Thank
So we
you.
have a lot of different data. Not just
Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. Reagan.
Thank
Very
you.
good job.
Thank you.
Ms. Cox?
I didn't have an agenda, so I didn't know.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan.
Ms. Reagan is also from the data team, and so is, Ms. Robin here, and Ms. Robin got her first test off, to a great start today with our BOD test for third graders. And so a lot of our data, we're gonna have a little bit better. But our data and things like that come from, Ms. Robin.
And what test did you say?
That is a BOD. It's the
BOD,
beginning of
okay.
the Third grade. Beautiful numbers. So I'm Robin Cox. I am the testing coordinator here for Clover Garden. And so I'm going to speak to you about a couple of things tonight. First of all, I'm just going to kind of give you an update about how our summer learning program went. And then we'll talk a little bit about testing and what's coming up in our world for this year. So we did a summer program this year trying to close those learning gaps that occurred when our students were off campus for the extended amount of time. And we knew that our learning gaps were great. So we were trying to come up with a plan to help our kids. So for the first year that we've done this in a while, I thought that our attendance was pretty good. I mean, we were asking kids to give up if it was ELA 2 weeks of their summer or for math 2 weeks of their summer. Some of our kids fell into both of those and they faithfully came and gave up 4 weeks of their 8 weeks that they had for summer. So we were very impressed with that. For our ELA, we invited 129 students, and how a student got invited, and this is 3rd through 8th grade, but how a student got invited was that they were not proficient on their EOG that took place back in May. So on their EOGs, they score a 5, 4, 3, or not proficient. Okay. These students that scored not proficient also had to be passing the grade though to be invited. They could not be a student that we would retain. So we had 129.
What was that number again?
129
Okay.
students that we invited in ELA across 3rd through 8th grade. We had 32 of those students attend. And at the end of the 2-week summer program, they had 9 days of instruction and 1 day of testing. So out of those 32 students, we had 12 students to show proficiency. So we were very, very proud and very happy of those numbers because these students did very intense learning from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for those 9 days. In our math, we had 95 students that we invited across 3rd through 8th grade. We had 25 of those students attend, and we had 10 students to be able to show proficiency on their EOG at the end of that 2-week session. So we're very, very proud of those numbers. Our staff works very hard, our kids works very hard. There were days that, by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon in our reading groups, we're going, come on, honey, stay with me, wake up a little bit. Because it was hard for them to do 8 solid hours of nothing but reading. But they did a great job. So we were very proud of those numbers. I'll speak just a little bit and give you just kind of some preliminary numbers of what our school report card is going to look like. I'm not going to give anything in writing yet, because these have not been finalized yet. But we are looking at Clover Garden as a school in our reading proficiency, 3rd through 8th grade. We are sitting at 58.9%, which was part of the reason why the school improvement team chose reading as to be our focus to try to gain that 2% throughout the school year. And our math for 3rd through 8th grade, we are sitting at 71.7%. Once this is finalized, we will do a cross comparison and see where that growth puts us from the previous school year's school report card. Biology was at 59.5%. Science, which is combined 5th and 8th grade, those are your testing grades for science, is 86.4%. So those look very good. ACT, which is new, that is new on the school report card this year and factors into our overall school grade. and the ACT is taken by your juniors here at the school, and our ACT grade was 72.5. Again, we don't have any previous data on that to say where we would have been because that's brand new. That was supposed to have been implemented before COVID hit, and then I got delayed by it. Okay. So just to give you a recap on testing, as we talk about data points and testing that we will be using this year to kind of gauge where our students are. Ms. Reagan mentioned we did start today with the BOD 3, which is the beginning of grade 3 reading test. It's a baseline test. Our third graders have the opportunity to show proficiency at this BOD 3, to show proficiency at their EOG reading test that they take in May, or to take the RTA, which is Read to Achieve, also in May, to show proficiency. So the third graders, because this is the first year that they do testing, get 3 different chances to be able to show proficiency in their reading. We will start with our check-ins in September. Our check-ins happen 3 times a year for our 3rd through 8th grade, and that's every 3rd through 8th grader in reading, math, and 5th and 8th grade science. New this year, we are adding, and because the state has added check-ins for math 3 and English 2, which are our EOC courses. We have previously had it in biology and math 1. So now all 4 of our testing EOC courses will have these check-ins, and a check-in is basically like a practice EOG or EOC for our students. And the feedback that the teachers get from us doing those, the benefit is that it will give the teacher a list of standards and what students were proficient in that standard and what students were not. And so it helps the teacher to see where the gaps are in their particular classroom. We will have the PSATs in the fall around October for our 8th, 9th, and 11th graders, and our 10th graders will take the pre-ACT. And then our juniors take the ACT the first week of March. Those are our big tests that we have coming up, and where we will get all of our data points this year to see what growth our students have made. Questions?
If we have a student that's borderline, do we treat it black and white? They were, they were supposed to get a 50, but they got a 49. Just as an example, what do we do in those situations?
So for the check-ins, we use that really just to see where we need to help bump that student up before they get to that EOG or EOC. When it comes to EOG or EOC, it is very black and white for the state is concerned.
That's fine. Okay.
And every number and every decimal.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have our committee updates. I don't believe we have anything for governance. There's no new policies or anything at this time, correct, Ms. Verhaken? Ms. Lane, finance?
No updates at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Foster, academic?
No updates at this time.
Mr. Huffines?
I don't have any updates. Just kidding. I had to throw that.
I drove by there. I don't know updates.
I just had to throw that out there. So yeah, we got a lot going on right now, construction wise. So we continue to have several meetings, and those several meetings consist of construction progress meetings, design modification meetings, R5 and submittal reviews, budget meetings, FF&E meetings. If you don't know what FF&E is, that's furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And then tons of on-site field visits and et cetera. So a lot of meetings for sure for myself and for our team. So just a recap, we started late April, actually April 25th. So through the end of July, we are about close to 21% complete. That's including store materials as well. So I think we made a lot of great progress. We've taken advantage of good weather. So that's definitely been on our side. A lot of the subs are coming in, showing up like they were supposed to. So I think if we continue to have good weather, I think, you know, we appear to be on schedule. So that's great. So our substantial completion is June 23rd of 2023. So our goal is to obviously meet that date or prior to that date. So it's a very ambitious schedule. So that's where we're at right now. So I did have a note here that photos is in Mrs. Fraken's Sunday message. So please take a look at those. It's just updates every week. So some of them will be small, some of them will be heavy. But just take an opportunity to look at that. So, and feel free to come out on site. If you want me to give you a grand tour, I'm more than welcome to give you a grand tour to kind of let you know where we're at, kind of give your proximity of where the building is and things like that. So I'll get a few details here. Site work, all the grading, storm sewer, seating and stabilization is complete. That is temporary seating out there just to get everything stabilized from all the storms that we may or may not get. Building pad is complete. Curb and gutter, there's a lot of curb and gutter out there. So that started a few weeks ago and that's continued to go along. We put in electrical conduits and sleeves for the parking lot lighting. We got to do that before we put stone down and asphalt. You might have seen our big mulch pile. So we will have a lot of landscaping mulch from all the trees that we cleared from the project. And then well has been drilled. Unfortunately, well number 1 did not yield much water. So we had to go to well number 2. So that seems to be producing a lot of water for us. And so we're just still waiting on testing and water samples for that. So that's the site work. So the building, still a lot of surveying going along with the building as far as laying it out, control points, benchmarks, things like that. All footings are complete for the building. Elevator pit, if you go out there, you'll see this wall kind of in the center of the building. So that's our elevator pit. They just waterproof it Saturday, I believe. So we have like an L-shaped wall, like a front courtyard wall. So they've done some footings for it. And then they started on the underground plumbing for the building. That's got to be done before the concrete pad, floor pad. So, and then the big news is yesterday, a lot of our structural steel was delivered on site. So if you go out there, you'll see them scattered all over the place. And so that was pretty cool to see that yesterday. So upcoming, so looking at putting stone down, asphalt for the parking lot, for the driveways. And then the biggest next milestone is pouring the building slab, concrete building slab. And then once we get the slab put forward, then we'll start erecting structural steel. So that's pretty much my report. So we got a lot going on. So three months of work so far.
Thank you, Mr. Headlines, and thank you for your updates. I think that's going to help. I think it's good to be able to push that information out to the parents and the community. So I know it's extra work on top of everything else. So I do appreciate it.
And I welcome some feedback. You know, if you want to see certain photos, or if you got a question about a certain type of construction item, feel free to just let me know. May not have all the answers, but I know where to get them. So.
Okay, the other items we have to discuss in the committees is, we had 2 members that rolled off, 2 new members. So we have an opening on the finance committee. We have an opening on the long range planning committee. And I think that's it. Governance is me and you, Ms. Foster, right? And me. And Ms. Merrill. Okay, I think we're good there. So, and in addition, we're adding a committee this year, of course, due to tight budget for the next 2 or 3 years, a fundraising committee. I am probably gonna head up getting that kicked off, but would welcome, once we get everything rolling, to have somebody else be chair. But that is, a committee that we desperately need, probably needed it 5 years ago. But, I would like to have at least, 3 members from the board on the committee. But also would like to have a couple of parents and staff, at least one person from administration, but also would like to see a couple of staff members as well. So any volunteers to join me? I need at least, okay, thank you, Ms. Russell.
I'll be a member on the
Okay.
fundraising committee.
Thank you. And like I said, once we get started and everything, we'll decide on chair and different things like that. But probably looking to meet within the next 2 weeks to get it kicked off and figuring out how we're gonna get all of the engagement we need from staff, parents, etc. So I'll probably work with Ms. Verakin on putting that out in part of your weekly message to start getting some recruiting done. Okay, what about finance? Do I have any volunteers for finance committee? Come and party with me and Miss Lane. It's fun. Okay. Mr. Russell, you just signed up. And then long range planning committee. I don't know, do you need more or do you want another one?
No, I think we're good right
You're
now.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we'll leave that one alone right now. Please raise your hand if you need anything, of course. Any questions about the committees? Okay. Ms. Verakin, compliance.
So all the charter schools, kind of govern, the charters, of course, and every so often they send down like updates or, just things to kind of be in the know. They help us stay in compliance, especially with DPI. So, that's their role. They are a huge support role, to charter schools. And so right now there is a vacancy, the director of charter school, office of charter schools, moved on to a different position. And so, Ms. Vaquero is the interim during this time. She's been with office charter schools for a while. I've reached out to her a lot. She's great. She's great to work with. But she did pass down some like summer housekeeping, compliance reminders for us. And, so some of these, of course, apply to things that administration does. But one of the things that she had in here, that, Ms. Sims and I thought was pretty important was, talking about, open meeting requirements and talking about our board meetings. So, she put in here, board meetings, of course, just to remind, make sure your board's aware of all open meeting requirements. Board meetings must be noticed properly and board meetings must be open to the public. Of course, I think we're doing great there. Board notice, agendas, and all meeting minutes should be published on the school's website. So that is something different than what we have not done in the past. Meeting minutes have not been published on there until now. Those were one things that she mentioned, that would be an update for us. And then she put, additionally, it is good practice to have board member contact information on the website. So board members should have a board-related email account, not a personal account, for board business. So just trying to streamline communication, things like that. All of you have a Clover Garden School email address. And so, that's just good safety in business, to keep it separate from your personal accounts and things like that. So, again, unless you guys tell me differently, we will update the website to kind of reflect this. I had hoped to bring you your board badges today for those that came and took pictures with us from Strawbridge. They look great. So just, trying to change it up a little bit and give you guys kind of the official badge and things like that. But as soon as has those with her, so we will bring those to you next meeting. But it's just those kind of things. Just wanted to it was like housekeeping, just reminders. So sometimes we just keep doing things and it's like, oh, well, we should be doing this. So unless you guys tell me differently, we can go ahead and put the, approved minutes on the website of the PDF, for families for viewing. And then I can update, all of you have Clover Garden School emails. So, when we update your profile on the website, which I would love to spruce that up a little bit. Now that I have pictures and stuff, just like a bio or a little something about yourself. Again, we have a lot of new families. And, you know, there's a lot of new faces in our building. And even faces that, you know, have been here a while, you know, we've changed over members and things on the board. So, just some updating, I think that we would like to do on the website just to stay current. But I did want to share that with you since that did come directly from the office of charge. So we like to stay in their good graces. if at all
And-
possible.
Yeah, and to be clear, the minutes have always been available. It's just they have not been posted on the website. So we are making that update. And in fact, we were in the process of that before, as legal advice had told us about a year and a half ago.
Let's just take that.
Mr. Rakin, why don't you, there was a form that a couple of years ago, I think Ms. Cox sent around. Why don't we send that around to the board? And it's just you fill out a little bio and then, you know, your favorites of certain things and that sort of thing. So I think that'll help you guys not have to email, call, just let's send that out, give a time frame to get that turned around. So you can just maybe drag and drop onto the website. Going back to committees, academics, Ms. Foster, you're kind of the lone board member on that committee. Do we have a volunteer for academics? If not, I'll join you. You, okay, okay. No, both of you. No. I will take it, both of you. We'll be on academics.
Overwhelmed.
That's right. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So that takes us to new business. Ms. Verakin, will you be taking the next 3 items? Well monitoring.
Please email me at Brandon Simmons. The first thing I'll pass this around, this is just our semi-annual required well monitoring, report. So they come out and do those, things and listen to those. So nothing was noted there. Sometimes if they find things, they put us on an action plan for monitoring and things like that. But, at the moment, we're in compliance. So just sharing that with you.
Okay, and then building inspection, do you just have something to share as well?
And so they come out, like I said, to do inspections on the school, and just kind of make sure, they walk around with Taylor a lot of times and just kind of check on things, make sure we're in compliance, especially fire code, things like that. So we did great. The only concern they had, there's a couple of observations and corrective actions on the second page, having to do with, you know, summertime and sinks not running and making sure you're turning on sinks on, which by now they're all running in all day long. So this was back in it was like the end of June is when he did it, before the kids came back officially. And then there's some ceiling tiles in and around the building. Taylor's working on that as well. Maintenance is working on replacing those. Just where we've had AC leaks or, you know, roof leaks, things like that, but nothing major, just they're broken or stained and they just need to be replaced. So he's working on that.
Okay, thank you. And then audit results.
Yeah, so this is IntelliCorp. So this is the programming that our system software that we use to run background checks, their vehicle requests, those kind of things, any type of consumer reports. And so basically, it's not really going to be that around, but it's with verification that we have passed that audit. So we have passing status and we are in compliance using that program.
Perfect, thank you. And then the faculty and staff and parents surveys for 21-22. Geez, Miss Jackson, while she's doing that, I will send the committee and the names, so you have that for the minutes.
Yes, that's the color. I'm just getting in my notes. It's for your record. I'll give you that every.
Miss Jackson, are you getting the weekly messages? So you good, okay.
Yeah. I don't worry, so I'm like that. But I've already had. discussion with that, I'm still-
Yeah, I've enjoyed going out and reading them. Mhm.
Facebook, website, right?
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
So. Every year, we do an annual, like survey that goes out to, our families and into our faculty and staff. So what we use these, surveys for, and I was so excited today that, our school improvement team, lead, Miss Reagan presented our school improvement plan, because you're gonna see some of those things are derived from feedback that we've gotten in these surveys. So this is a testament to all the families that are like, oh, they don't even read that. We really do, I promise. So there is a reason for these surveys, and when we ask you to build these out, we do use them for our school improvement planning. And so it's good to make changes and things like that. So normally this survey goes out around December, January. Unfortunately, this past year got pushed back a little further, towards the end of the year, which is around March. There were benefits to that, which was kind of neat. So, you know, we kind of did it mid-year before, but you really can't make but so many changes mid-year, right? So what's cool about this part is that it ended up, we used it over the summertime, and we're able to prep for the school year. So it kind of worked in our benefit. So I'm not sure which way we'll do it this year, but that was a benefit. So what we did with the survey this time, and I know Ms. June likes to compare from 3 years ago, past 3 years. I don't have that for you today, but we can work on that. What we did was condense today and put both surveys in one, okay? Which is giving me eyebrows. So they are separate as well, for more diving in deep, at a later time. But what we did was kind of put them together, kind of giving you the highlights of kind of what we saw, based on the survey results. And so what we did was we got the faculty and staff survey, kind of a snapshot at the beginning, and then we got the parent survey results at the end. So just kind of, you can see it all, grand scheme of things, how we're doing at the school. So, the first one, again, this is from last school year. So the first page is going to talk about our staff and faculty, information. So again, who took this assessment? So there were 59 participants. So last year we had around 63 employees. I know I personally didn't take it. So, you know, those were some folks that did not participate in administration, those kind of folks. So pretty good turnout there. And then they also did these via Google, using the Google form. And then again, we completed these around March of last year. So again, I will drop this also in your folder, so you'll be able to see it, you know, how to dive deeper, if you'd like as well. And so again, this kind of shows how many years of experience our folks have, which is kind of neat. Those in the yellow, that about 37% of our staff have been teaching and in education for between 11 and 20 years. So that's our big bulk of our teachers right now. The next big bulk is going to be around the 4 to 10 year range. Okay, so those career non-renewable. And then you've got 16% about pretty even, either veterans or BTs. So that just kind of gives you kind of an idea of who the folks were and what kind of education background they have, that took this assessment or took this survey. And then what's neat about it, this changes, and it has changed over time. But now we're at the point where this chart shows, have you taught or worked in another school? For the longest time, the biggest part of that pie was here. They had not been anywhere else, right? So what I think is really interesting about this is now it's kind of flipped the other way. And so how do you talk to work in another school? About 60% of our employees that have taught somewhere else. And so I see that as a benefit, because they're bringing in outside ideas, things that we maybe, not thinking about, thinking outside the box. But then you've got a core group of people that have been here the whole time or for a longer period of time where they have the more values. So it's kind of neat to have the different groups there. So this is kind of a summary. So talking about staff strengths and opportunities and growth. And so what they do here, is there's opportunities, and you'll see that at the end, there's like an open-ended section that I'll ask for feedback and comments and things like this. This is based on the data that is pulled from, with each percentage, and we'll see those in a second. So this is just kind of a summary of all the percentages that they turn in. So some of our strengths, and those percentages are, percent like satisfaction or satisfied, those kinds of things. So, that's kind of where the numbers come from. So what's our staff happy about? They're happy about the length of our school year. They're happy about our school safety. This one, I take this into heart. Okay, school safety is the most important thing. And then the ability of the school to fulfill our mission. Okay, so making that forefront of, putting it in the forefront of all of it. Those are some of the strengths, according to our staff and our faculty who are in the building each and every day. Okay, opportunities for growth. Okay, so time allowed for planning. Amount of paperwork that's required, when it comes to documentation, things like that. Classroom management and student behavior, opportunities for professional development, time spent together discussing the needs of kids, and then their non-teaching responsibilities. So already off the bat here, I've already seen improvement in some of these things that, I'm interested to see this year's survey once we get going, but Ms. Reagan spoke to you a lot about our PD, or professional development, and that being a concern for our teachers, and one of those opportunities. So now they're kind of mapped out. Okay, shout out to our folks over here who have been able to kind of put some things in alignment where we have a program that's going to allow for more professional development. And our teachers are learning, they're growing, they're becoming stronger educators. So I'm really excited about the professional development piece for opportunities. And then the time allowed for planning. This year, Nina and Ms. Reagan work on our master schedule, which is a puzzle that no one, I think, wants to put together. Okay, it's like a puzzle with missing pieces, but they're like hidden like Easter eggs. And so it's a tough one. Our master schedule is pretty tough, but they do a fantastic job of trying to, hear the teachers, hear the concerns, and we can't, fulfill everybody's mission, but they try. So there are opportunities here, especially for our middle school, high school teachers, and now our elementary teachers, where their special times overlap. So the kids in my second grade classroom and his fifth or second grade classroom, now his Feldman second grade classroom, are all at the same time. And so, at least once a week, okay, we may could be every, but it's all, at least once a week. So we can plan together. Saw that happening today with our second grade team. So it was really good to see. So already seeing some improvements there, but this is reflective for us to be able to move forward this school year. Okay, so we use some kind of key indicators here, like or a key, a legend kind of thing. So we kind of said, okay, 90 to 100% satisfaction rate, great. Okay, we're gonna put that in blue. Okay, we're happy, we're really happy about those things. Green, falling between like 80 and 90%. Okay, we're not great, we're good. Okay, and then anything below 70 is going to be, or below 80, excuse me, anything below 80% is going to be kind of yellow. Okay, so those are just areas where we're not quite satisfied. We may be kind of neutral in certain areas, but that's just kind of a quick color coded way for us to be able to do this. Okay. So if you look at this first page here, so you see some of the things: school facilities, wings of the school year, student transportation, school safety, cafeteria, athletics, student support services, extracurricular. So all of those except the cafeteria seem to be, we're doing pretty good. Okay, they were pretty happy about that last year. Faculty and staff. Cafeteria. Taking into account that the cafeteria wasn't utilized last year. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. It's not a whole lot to say. I'm probably not happy about the cafeteria either. I know it's there. So cafeteria will be fine. But those are some areas. We did see this on the parent survey too, which we'll see here in just a little bit, and I'll talk to you about some of the updates that we have done in our cafeteria that may help with some of those with that.
Were there comments about the cafeteria or just,
Um, just option variety, those kind of things. And so, and I can speak to that now that this will come up here too, but, parents were the same way, wanting opportunities. And last year, yeah, probably when they will say COVID, but last year, a lot of that hit us really hard with vendors and things like that. And everybody went up on prices, but we didn't want to go up on prices last year. And so we kind of had to hover with two vendors. They did a great job working with us and trying to get in here and following all of our rules and expectations. But again, your menu was a little bit more limited than it normally is. So I think that was some of the frustration, I guess.
well, and that may be a struggle for another few years or so.
It's unfortunately, this cafeteria, we didn't have to increase prices this year.
Yeah.
That's one thing, just with everything and trying to get our hands on different things, we have had to go up. So
Yeah.
that might.
That might be lower. It could become pews next year.
Variety this year, and our middle school and high school kids do use the cafeteria now, so there's some socialization.
Ms. Franklin, was there any comments about half of lunchtime being spent walking to the cafeteria, waiting for food, and then walking back to the classroom?
No, because you remember they didn't do that. Well, last year was different. Last year was they didn't actually stay in the cafeteria, but no, we
Right.
didn't really get a lot of feedback on that.
Okay.
When it came to the transition time.
Okay.
Yeah, this is recently this year with middle school and high school, we're actually seeing our cafeteria really in motion for the first time, 2 years. So,
The elementary kids just, it would take them 5 or 10 minutes to get there. And then getting their food and then time to get back to the classroom, and they had 5 or 10 minutes to eat. I heard that just here and there a lot. So I didn't
and
know
our
if that
K-5
was-
kids, that's a good question. So our K-5 kids really in their
Right.
classrooms. The best thing about that is it's almost kind of the opposite, like the teachers have the autonomy. That's your classroom. If you need a couple extra minutes here or there, as long as it's not,
Okay.
running into too much instructional time, you have the flexibility versus in the cafeteria. There's a 5-minute window. They're good up, you gotta go,
Yeah. I'm
So.
fortunate enough to remember that part. I
Yeah.
don't miss it.
You do hear about your middle school and high school cafeterias, feel free. But yeah, so that one was the cafeteria. Next page, again, you'll see some more yellows here. It kind of goes back to what we kind of summarized at the beginning. Time allowed for planning and preparation is not enough time in the day to build time. They were happy with teacher autonomy, teacher involvement in school decisions, all of our committees, and teachers do appreciate being part of that, decision-making process. And then our academic standards and expectations they were happy with. Again, some of the areas for improvement, again, I have time allowed for planning, their non-teaching responsibilities, like duties in the morning and duties after school. Spent time spent together discussing the needs of our kids and in curriculum. Those were some of the areas that they would like to see us grow in this part. So again, we talked about other areas. So the ability of the school. So we had some good ones here. How satisfied are you with? So the ability of the school to fulfill its mission, absolutely. Individualized attention that the teachers give to our students. They were happy about that. And then innovation and teaching practices, kind of goes along too with the teacher autonomy. That's one of our driving points for teachers wanting to come here and us being desirable is that you do have some choice there and how you teach the instruction. So areas for improvement, always materials. That's always a big one. But use of computers and technology. When I first saw this, I was like, well, we had computers for everybody. But they were not distributed to everybody. So the computers went out prioritized last year. Our elementary folks didn't get them to the very end, and the little ones didn't get them at all last year. Now this year, we have technology for everybody this year. So there are on carts for our younger kids, and then our 6th through 12th grade are all one. They all have their own laptop, but they can take home. So that I think will improve this school year. And then classroom management through behavior. Last year was tough. Kids getting back in here for the first time, the full time, like full school day, all year long. We really, and it still trickles over. These folks have been very busy the past 2 weeks with discipline. So, another piece of that is just that the time they were not here. The time they were not together with other people, we have seen that kind of trickle over into the classroom. And so, discipline, not that it was the worst thing ever, but it did increase last year, disciplinary stuff, and teaching our kids how to be, acclimated back to the school environment and having a filter. And, no, I can't just, tell you what I think, there's a way to do that. So,
Didn't Ms. Reagan, didn't the social worker say not only individual, but she was working on some group?
yes.
Okay,
That has been our biggest, even this year, so far too, is just those peer interactions.
Mhm.
That's been a tough one.
It's gonna be important.
It is, and I would love to say that, sure, it's gonna be solved this year.
No.
And it's gonna be time, it's gonna be time, but yes, that is what she's working on, is some of those, peer mediation type situations and peer mentors and, those kind of things, and kind of manage that.
And with your younger teachers, I am assuming that there are, a lot of times they are the ones who do struggle with classroom management and student behavior. So, what kind of support are they getting from other staff members, admin, just maybe to help them better manage their classrooms?
Yep, so all of our beginning teachers, especially, they are part of our beginning teacher support plan, they're part of that program, and so they all have mentors, that are veteran teachers, that some of and they're closely related to their field for the most part. And so those teachers actually meet with those folks weekly, if not, touch bases every day in the afternoon when they're on duties together, but yeah, so we do have a plan. I believe Ms. Nicola has presented to you guys before when we were doing BT updates and things, but yes, so she has hit the ground running with that this year as our coordinator. They had training, their very first day on the job. They went through the beginning teacher program, the plan, and the supports that are in place there. So we I don't know off the top of my head how many BTs we have this year. Off the top of my head.
Is there any
I would say, but
any time allotted for the mentors that they can actually go into the classroom to observe and get a feel for
Feedback,
what's
yeah.
going on?
yeah, so yeah, that is an option. So right now, so we're short. And some of our folks we put on the BT list are not actually BTs. They're actually folks that may not have their licensure, but we put them in that program anyways. And so they are, like a buddy system kind of thing. So we can get them in there and make sure that they're getting the same amount of evaluations and feedback that our licensed beginning teachers. They're kind of holding them to the same standards and expectations. But absolutely. So our mentors, between like specials and things like that, they actually mentors. And this reminds me, I gotta remind them, but they usually give the first evaluation before we come in and do the first one. So they do the first one and we come in and then they do another one as well, so announced and then unannounced, just to give them feedback. But we're 100% in support of that. Again, in years past, we've had subs like kind of roaming at times so that they can kind of cover and let them go. But again, it's all they can work out their schedule. Yeah, we absolutely support that. Okay.
What are we doing for the staff as a whole? In regards to, we have a social worker for the kids. What are we doing for the staff in this climate that we're in?
Yeah.
And the turnover and different things that we've got going on. What are we doing? Are we getting a plan together to ensure that our staff is supported, that they have resources to work through struggles and issues that maybe they don't feel comfortable coming to you or the APs right now? What are we doing to make sure that our staff is supported?
So our staff, we added that benefit, I believe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, but it's an employer assisted program. And so we actually last year, it was really cool. Ms. Simmons and Ms. Cox, they helped set it up. We brought in an actual therapist that works with the AP and let our teachers sign up. Like, it's confidential, like you come and just unload, but they were burning out fast. And it's tough right now. So yeah, so that is still a thing. We did set that up and we did have quite a few people attend that and take part in that. And so, and like, we're gonna come back. So it really, you never know when you're offering those things. They actually, like that, you want us to do that. We did get some positive feedback from that. Of course, I would have loved to see even more, but pretty much every time slot was filled up that day. And some wouldn't stay longer. So,
Yeah.
example. But it was a good opportunity. So that will continue this year as well.
Okay.
We're getting ready to go into like benefits meetings with them
Yep.
and additional reports and things like if they're interested in something with insurances and all that stuff. But the other thing we did at the end of the year, the coolest thing I think ever, was we brought in like the chair massages.
Mhm.
And so on one of our days, it was a half day, we scheduled that towards the end of the year, right before testing. And so all of them got like, I don't, how long, they get 15 minutes. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say-
Last year. they-
That's what he's advocating for.
Sounds great. Sounds wonderful. I think they got 15 minutes. I just raised the last, so I got like more than 15 minutes. So, you know, they go to the gym. So I think that it was a 15-minute, but it was really nice. And again, those are things that they, you know, those options. So our teacher really did enjoy that. For sure. So,
Well, I think you've already mentioned Ms. Spencer is doing some morale building.
Mhm.
And I know that that's something that has been done in the past. And
Yep.
speaking from an educator's point of view, you know, again, yeah, we like money and dollars, but just somebody coming by and saying thank you. And I mean, and I think that needs to come from our board too. I mean, I think when we see these teachers, we need to let them know you're appreciated, you are valued, we are glad you are here. And so, Ms. Spencer, I thank you because I know it would have meant the world to me for somebody to come and give me some
Swedish fish.
Swedish fish. I would have been just as tickled to death. So, again, I think, you know, reinstituting those kinds of things, just to make our staff feel valued, means the world, and that doesn't cost a lot.
Mr. Belton's Day, made sure that all of our teachers had AC. Because, the breaker flipped and it was 81 degrees in our classrooms upstairs. So, he jumped right on that to make that happen. So it cooled it back down. Well, you know, we don't want our teachers angry or hot. But no, I agree with Ms. Butler, and I appreciate those that like that we're able to kind of work schedule that and come to the Friday that the teachers were here and we ate and things, and then you guys kind of walk around and talk to people and said hello, like that means that doesn't, that it really does, it goes a long way. It's just like I said, we appreciate it.
That's great. One last thing, this is just my numbers brain. On the classroom management and student behavior, that is like the only one that doesn't equal 98 to 100%. It's only 71%. And I'm just wondering where the other 29 is.
That one, I think, has like a, one of the teachers that helped put it together. There were like 5 categories there. and
Okay.
So it was like extremely satisfied, and extremely, so there was like that, this is the category I hate, okay? How do you not know?
No.
Well,
Yeah, Mr. Rapine and I were just talking about that.
Is that neutral supposed to be? Okay. We may want to change
I think we
that.
might change that for the next survey.
So I agree, and I appreciate that feedback, because when she did it, when she put it together, those were the ones she kind of combined together.
Okay.
They kind of-
Okay, yeah.
Extremely satisfied, on satisfied, okay. we put that.
I've gone down all the lines and rows and columns and everything is
top one.
98 to 100, and then it's like 71, and I'm like, okay, that math's just not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where it came from. That was when I think that had
That's
got.
100%.
Yeah.
But again, I would really love to. It really does, it kind of, for all of our data folks. it really-
What about our, I don't think I saw that category, but what about our arts program? Dance, band, music, chorus?
I think that's common. I don't have that, it's not in here specifically. There, that, I do remember, I saw that in Karen. Survey.
So I don't think it was on the first slide, was it?
No, and even like, so the next one is not on there either. So again, y'all are right, this number, he was making those for our survey, and then change that next year. We'll make sure we have that.
It's either satisfied or dissatisfied, and make sure we ask about the arts.
And then ask about.
Yeah.
Other things that were in here, was communication with, parents and staff from the school. I said the pride that teachers and students have with school, and then the overall relationship with the local community. So we're doing pretty good there. With working with staff. Other places, just opportunities for improvement, things that we are satisfied with, that we're doing well. So administration, in the school, work environment, so those things we're doing well at. Areas for improvement, competitive salary and benefits. This is pretty hard this year. So finance committee, I know that's something that we're discussing and going to talk about. But there's, we as a business have to improve that. For the quality of individuals working in. So, again, amount of paperwork, of course, opportunities for professional development and then evaluation of your performance. I'm really excited about this. Mr. Belton has already worked on this, and has created our entire, like almost for the entire school year evaluation schedule. So it will be much, the evaluation will be much more effective and it's timely. So it's not, hey, I heard you 3 weeks ago, let me be, you know, so it's gonna be much more, you know, faster program. So excited about that. We can kind of go through these, y'all are welcome to kind of dive into these, but these are just things that, again, remember I told you this one got 6. Okay, so a great deal, some, average, not much, none, not out. All right, so again, we will tweak this for next school year, but that is just the breakdown on handling behavior, how much you have with a student, how much do you have a value in their learning in general, and then are you able to craft good questions for your class? So, next one, same thing. How much input do you think you have in establishing a management system of your kids? How much do you use a variety of assessments? How much do you are paying with families, helping the children do well in school? How much ability do you have to implement alternative strategies? So that's really kind of internal stuff that we use. And so this is the open-ended section. And so these can be brutal. To be honest. Okay, so people just, let out, it is anonymous, okay, and that's why I tell them, I cannot, unless you give me a specific story, I don't know. Okay, so it is anonymous, I have no idea. But these are all open-ended sections, and so what we do is we kind of compile what we see them most, okay? And so shout out to us, so what are some things that we're doing well? They shout out to others, so the staff, so they are kind and helpful, collaborative, supportive. It is one big happy family, for the most part, so, and they love their kids. So that is one thing, that I've heard repetitively from new employees is, I just post each other, like, just help each other. I thought that was cool. But, that's so I'm very proud of that. Great relationship with the community, we have supportive administration, and then autonomy in their instruction. Great things. Concerns, because the administration quite a lot here, okay? I'm like, oh, it's hard, but it's right, they're right, okay? So communication for administration, needing that timely feedback and responses, okay? Needing more staff, everybody having to wear multiple hats does create burnout. Communication between administration and teachers regarding their students. So, most of the time that was the discipline, just getting that feedback. Got to see that in action today with Ms. Spencer in a classroom, following up with the teacher on what took place and what happened, and here's what we did, and here's what we're going to do forward. Super excited about that. And then not like administration being present and available throughout the day. True. Okay, there's not a lot of us to go around last year. And so when you've got 60 employees, you're kind of tied up and things like that. So I'm ecstatic about this one because the student heard the concerns that Ms. Ray shared, and then I had the data to go with. So these two folks have hit the ground running 125%, providing staff, providing support, not only to me, but to the teachers and to the students. So I've definitely seen a huge improvement. But anyway, so like I said, that's our open-ended section. So, that is it for that survey. Is there any questions about those?
Yeah, and just a shout out to the two new admin. I mean, seeing
Yeah.
great things, and I really like the idea about your evaluation schedule because I know myself, it was nice when you had that evaluation and you knew exactly when you were going to be spoken to about it, and you didn't have to just sit and wonder how it had gone. And, even after you taught 30 years, you just always I wound up having principals, assistant principals come in that were my students at some point. And I was like, oh boy, what are they gonna say about me now? But I like that. I think that's a great thing you're doing.
Goal is to have that post-observation conference turn around within 5 days.
And that's great. That's
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Because feedback is very important and it's good to get it anytime, but it needs to be timely so that if there are corrections that need to be made, they can begin immediately. Good to hear. Thank you.
So jumping in, parent survey, just kind of a summary
Did you do
here.
this?
So we had 655 students last
Oh,
year.
there's two one.
We had 135 participants, which that number was better, but at least 135 people. still down. So, take what I can get. That's why I read it. So they submitted this again, it was in March, same kind of thing. And it just kind of a breakdown, let you know, 34% of the folks who filled this out actually use our school transportation system. And then 90% of students that have their child returned, and the 10% were undecided. So.
That's one per family, right? Representation,
Like 135.
yeah,
So that should have, yes, I'm sorry.
that
yes.
should represent
Fill that out.
135 families, right? Okay,
That's right. So again, and we've got families that have multiple children, so.
right,
Still kinda low.
All right.
it's still a
So
lot.
here's kind of a summary of our strengths and our opportunities for growth. So some strengths that our families appreciated was the start and end time of the school year, the school size, the school locations, the start and end time of the school day, school safety, of course, and then the faculty and the strengths that are shown out. Opportunities for growth. Food services, communication promptly and completely, communication is usually one every year. School finances, and then communication about student learning. So again, this is we've kind of had some great conversations about this lately, about how can we educate our families on what's going on, again, that's always up if people want to come in and ask, but what else can we share to make that clearer about how these things take place, so. I have seen some changes there that we are working on. And then of course, communication about student learning, with our families and keeping in the loop of what's going on with our kids. So how satisfied are you with? All right, so school size, class size, school location, start and end time, we talked about earlier, starting in time of school year and school day. Opportunities for parent participation in extracurriculars. That's where the extracurriculars go. You're asking me to the parent. But, so pretty much, we're good, we're great. This year, but so far, last year was good. So how satisfied are you with? So, satisfied here with our faculty and our teachers, curriculum, the attention that our teachers give our kids, school materials, supplies, classroom management, and quality of teaching and instruction. The only area that, failed below that 8% was communication. So communication is always key. So, that was important about communication.
Mr. Reagan, do they do interim reports midway through the grading period?
Yes, so that is more, formal this year, like that is actually in the teacher's handbook. So before then, it was, you got a report card every 9 weeks. Now it is, you're gonna have an interim progress report that's in between.
So it's a requirement.
Is a requirement now, versus, before it was, you were expected to reach out to the family with those kids failing, and that was the focus, but now it goes out to everybody. The other thing too here, we do like face-to-face conferences with our folks in fall. We have a leadership team next week, so I'm interested to see how they want to do that this year, how they want to schedule those, because, those face-to-face conferences are huge. and with the past couple of years not being able to do that in person and that stuff. So I think that kind of contributed to the communication breakdown.
And the check-ins that they do, those results are also sent home so that parents can see those.
Yes, and those are actually, towards the end of the year, those were actually available online in our school, so those are actually available. So we have some more yellows on this page, so it's all right, just opportunities for improvement. So very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, administration, enrollment and admission process, school safety, transportation services, and our athletics program. So very satisfied, happy with those kind of things. Other areas, like I said, some of these got real close to 80%, but just areas, always for improvement. No excuses, but last year was a tough year. You guys were on the chopping block a lot, more masks, face masks and COVID, and we weren't always in place. So, so school board, school finances, food service, you're gonna do like a deep, okay? And then student support services. And so again, always areas for us to improve. Last year with student support services, we wrote like, okay, when these kids came back in this building, and so we tried to adjust that and add some more, we added some more supports in place. Especially when it's like behavioral things, a lot of times there's something that's driving those behaviors, with mental health and things like that. So we made some adjustments there this year, so I hope that will be better this school year. But yeah, our social worker last year was just, she could be here till midnight, but so trying to follow.
And I feel like I'm talking too much tonight, but I'm gonna go back to the school board. Again, our visibility is important. It's important. And just like this fundraiser they're doing, the color run, sign up and do it. I mean,
Yep.
let them see that you're gonna come when they have things and you're gonna support them, because that's going, not only with your teachers, it's gonna make a world of difference. It's gonna make a difference with your parents as well, when they know, I mean, you can come here and sit at a meeting, but unless you know what's going on and are participating, what's going on with the inner workings of the school, parents can't appreciate that.
That's right.
So, I signed up.
I have to, we'll be walking.
Yeah, me too. I won't be running. I will walk.
So the next page, so how satisfied are you with these? So, sense of pride, that the students and teachers have in school, homework requirements, our library, and then communication from the school about events and meetings were all for me satisfied. Areas for improvement, kind of what I mentioned before, the services. So this one, I will say, I made a note on this one. So services provided for special needs students. So those are like our kids that are in the EC program, or they have an IP, they have a 504, those type of things. Right? Yeah. Okay, 51% is uncertain. Okay, so if you don't have an EC child, or you don't know about our EC program, then maybe that was your NA, right?
Yeah.
And so they mark that, and so if you add that to that, I mean, these are not good enough to agree. So, again, that was just kind of a hint that I noticed. Okay, other things, so, other areas we're satisfied with, Cover Garden is a safe place to learn, it's kept clean, the staff at Cover Garden treat me fairly and with respect. The school has high academic expectations, I feel welcome to Cover Garden. My children are having a positive experience at Clover Garden, and I believe Clover Garden is preparing my child or children for college. So those really resonate with me. So those are great. I'm very satisfied with those. Areas to improve, again, if I have questions or concerns, they are addressed quickly and completely. And so that's just trying to work on that turnaround time, and being able to comment, being able to address those concerns issues. And then these were just some breakdowns. I'm not going to come in on here, but these were just, some questions that were created just kind of see on a day, again, for us to take back, how much homework are we giving our kids? How much time are they spending doing homework, just for our families to kind of take a look at, I mean, for them, and then for our faculty and staff to look at and kind of, reevaluate what we're doing. And you know, our kids are involved in a lot of activities, we know the importance of those and they have time to participate in those, the value after school, but also making sure that our curriculum is rigorous, so. And the last page is, again, the open-ended section. It's brutal, okay? I did not share that with the staff because there are some folks that shout out specific staff members and things like that. So we just kind of summarize if we see a common thread, a common complaint, those kind of things. So shout out here. So family atmosphere, staff, friendly, loving, supportive, location of the school, the school side. So here's where we got a shout out. Student safety in the building and then what we offer our kids. So shout out positive there. And then concern, we knew this one, volunteer opportunities last year was tough, because this year we can bring volunteers in, you know, from certain times in school. So, but again, volunteer opportunity, this is probably still gonna be a concern this year, lunch prices. But options in the process, when you guys were asking about the comments they made about the cafeteria, that was kind of what they wanted to do with more choices. And then what I was gonna tell you was, Ms. Quimby, our cafeteria coordinator, has worked on that this year. Yes, we didn't have to fix the prices, unfortunately, but there are every Wednesday, some of them special. So if you're gonna come eat, please come on Wednesday, okay? It's a little pricier just because it is the world we live in with restaurant and fine demand right now, but Wednesdays are like, you know, special days, like, you know, and I'm just throwing out things, but like, you know, Olive Garden and like Chick-fil-A, like those kind of. So those are gonna be off the regular menu. Those are just our, we have our normal vendors, we have a special Wednesday. So woo-hoo Wednesday. I don't know if someone picked that up. But if you want to come in, please come in on Wednesday, you know, it's a good choice. Make it awesome. We've been working on that. And then concern communication from teachers, administration, parents. I don't know that I've ever seen a survey that didn't have communication.
Right.
Yes.
Can always do better.
Smaller class sizes, agreed there, and then dress codes. So these lovely folks, when they came on board, filled out the handbook, they're ready to just end the handbook. I'm like, all right, most important thing is the whole handbook, you ready? Dress code. Okay, so I'm thinking, but we spend a lot of time on that, okay, and this year, their ideas they brought to the table. And then some of our feedback that we got from the staff and some from our families and our students on dress code. We have laxed a little bit. We still have a very professional environment. But we have laxed a little bit when it comes to like sweatpants and being able to give the kids some opportunities to really be themselves and to be comfortable in the folks for them every day. So you'd be shocked. We still have, you know, your jeans can't have holes up here in the thighs, okay? But you know, you can't have holes in jeans as long as they're from the knee down. So we try to meet them in the middle and compromise a little bit. Truthfully, our biggest issue right now is dress code leggings. Okay, I think that was our biggest issue last year too, but I do feel. I feel like middle school and high school kids are appreciative of that and are a little bit, you know, more friendlier than normal in the hallways, you know. I think that it has really boosted their morale a little bit too, to be able to be, you know, have more choice in what they're wearing, so.
What, did you look at the staff dress code as well? Or just
Yes, so
the
staff,
students?
the jeans don't apply to them, so they can't wear their whole jeans. I told them they couldn't wear so they tried. But yes, the same will apply. So leggings, things like that, and have to have appropriate dresses and things like that that go to the mid-thigh length. Mid-thigh, and it's all the way around, okay? But it's not just your mid-thigh. You'd be amazed. How much time?
No,
it takes for you.
no.
And so the kids have really been receptive, to be honest with you about that. And again, I have seen more smiling faces. It seems to be for the kids are a little bit more engaged. So I hope that that is what you're doing. So they still have restrictions, but some freedoms as well.
Got a question on smaller class size. So earlier that was a benefit, but explain to me, are they talking about the size of the classroom or are they talking about the number of students in the class?
Usually it's the number of kids in a classroom. So, and again, like I said, it kind of contradicts itself.
Yeah.
Yes, we like that Clever Garden offers small class sizes. Unfortunately, we haven't had that last year and this year we are 25 or less.
Okay.
In classes. That is not the continued plan. We want to get back down to the 20s and the 18s and things like that. But for now, that's what we need to do in this building. And to try to strategically plan for the rollover into high school, we gotta make sure we have enough kids that are able to roll up. But yeah, so that's sometimes it kind of goes both ways. This really, a lot of times where you're gonna see this is K-5 classrooms right now and middle school classrooms. There's some middle school classrooms right now because we are so short math teacher that have 28 kids. That's not an ideal size at all to have in a classroom. So whereas in high school, it kind of thins out a little bit because kids go do different things. They have ACC, they have NCDPS, they have their courses that are differentiated by honors and standard level. So it kind of changes a little bit when you get into high school. Those class sizes are not as large. Some of those are smaller, but that's really where you're gonna see that concern come from. And it does make a difference. Anyone that's ever been in the classroom, Ms. Foster, if you've got 25 kids versus 20, it's amazing the difference is 5 kids when you're one person in there.
And that also contributes to your student behavior and management. Yeah, you start going above, and I've taught as many as 35. It's,
Wow.
I was gonna say, I heard the
Yeah.
recent public school average is 33.
I was gonna say, we're still at least 10.
Oh, yeah.
And probably an average of 10 kids less than the public school per class.
I typically had about 28 in public school at 8th grade level.
One of our teachers that just came from York County said the same thing. She saw our schedule, said, how many is there? Said, all right, so less than 30.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly
And so
right.
it's, yeah, they appreciate it. But our goal and what we want to get back to, and, you know, why we were created, you know, for charter is to do that more one-on-one, and to have that opportunity for smaller class sizes. So. Okay. And that's it. I'm sure if any questions about those, I know I kind of gave you the rundown of those, but I will put that in there. You're comfortable with that, and we will make those notes about calculations and making sure that it's a little. We'll have our math folks create the survey next year so they can get us the breakdown without stress.
You put Mr. Cheek on that.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, teacher of the year. Review.
Thank you. That's good information. Okay, that was the last item for our agenda tonight. Any other questions, comments for open session?
Can I just go back to the committees for a second? Ms. Barakin, with the 2 new members that'll be joining the academic committee, will the staff still be having their academic committee meetings as well?
We are, so leadership team meets tomorrow, and we're gonna kind of go through that again, but yes, because academics, we're gonna be working on the grade scale things for elementary this year, so yes, that one will still.
So will there be an opportunity for the 3 of us to join in? Are they still going to do it Zoom?
So we're, yes, so our committee meets last year, yes, and leadership team, so yes, we have still utilize that tool.
Okay,
So I would be happy to add it.
so if we can get the dates for those meetings, it's helpful when you have, get the teacher feedback as well.
Okay, if there's nothing further for open session, we do have a closed session this evening under General Statute 143-18.11A1. Do I have a motion to move into closed session? Mr. Huffine, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor? Please note we are moving into closed session at 8:24 p.m.